And I want to bring this out because the scriptures tell us that we was going to leave our name for a curse. And what we have today is a lot of hatred for our brothers who are in the islands. Brothers in Cuba, brothers in Puerto Rico, brothers in Dominican Republic, right? Some of our brothers have got Spanish names. We allow, man, you're not American. Let's read this. Go to page 36.
Before the Mayflower, A History of Black America by Lerone Bennett Jr.
Page 36. And what I want to show you is the names of the brothers and sisters who fled those areas, because this is important. Read that highlighted version.
Paragraph 3, before the Mayflower. A large proportion of the first generation of African Americans entered America with Spanish.
See that? Brothers came over here with names like Pablo. Go ahead.
For reasons that are not readily apparent, many black males also called Antonio, a name that quickly became Attorney or Anthony. Other possible names of the period included Michela or Calcello, Mingo, Pedro, Francisco, Jabina, Maria, Wartello, Tamora, Angola, and Tony Congo. Shortly after their arrival in America, many blacks discarded African and Spanish names and adopted English titles.
What's our names now? Jones,
Williams.
right? Williams, right? We got English names now. But before, brothers had Spanish names. Yeah, question?
No, I was going to say they stopped putting, because usually in Israel we had father's name and our name, a lot of just,
Yeah.
they stopped putting it in there.
Right. So that's all scriptural too, what we're talking about here.
Right.
Why do we have Latin names? Because that was their captors. We were in captivity there. So when you're looking from Babylon to Timbuktu, let's go there real quick. Why do we have Spanish names? Go to page 115 and 116. It's a trip because if you go to the East Coast, there's more brothers over there got Spanish names than they do on the West Coast. So I could walk, if like my name being Juan, right? When it's short for Shemai Juan. When I tell people my name is Juan, especially Mexican people, they look at me like, your name Juan? Like, yeah. What's the problem? You know, they can't understand. But when we was first coming over here, we had Spanish names. Go ahead. Go to page 115. Yeah. Yeah. You just read. Yeah, give my book. Yeah, highlight it.
Prove all things.
That's what we're doing. We're proving all things for all those naysayers out there. Whether they believe or not, these are the mysteries that we're bringing out of our treasure box. Go ahead, Al.
Page 115, the expulsion of the Jews from Spain and Portugal. The decree to expel the Jews from Spain was signed on March 31st in one of the corridors in the great Alhambra, the palace of the Moorish kings of Granada.
Right. Alhambra was where the school was, the great school of thought.
The reason given for the expulsion of the Jews was that it was thought that they corrupted the Morenos, Jews converted to Christianity.
Look at that.
By privately encouraging them in disloyalty to Christianity. The ultimatum given to the Jews expired August 1st, 1492, but the last group of Jews did not leave until August 2nd, 1492.
1492 again, man. We talked about this 1492. Caesar Borgia, the one who painted Michelangelo painted the image of his cousin as being Jesus Christ.
It was smashed.
1492, when they came to the Americas, conquered all the Latinos, right? 1492, when they took us into slavery.
Yep.
All the stuff that's going on. Come on. That was a serious year.
That's what they don't tell you in school. They don't tell you exactly what was going on behind the scenes of why Christopher Columbus came to the New World and who exactly he had on his ship. Because I read that he had Hebrew interpreters.
I had that too, but I'm not going into it. But it's in the rivers of gold. It was over 100 Hebrew interpreters. They were all black.
I didn't know that.
And when the ships traveled, people think it was just one ship. It was hundreds of ships.
Yeah,
They went with armies.
The Queen
it was the Israelite
Israelites.
insurrection, so of course they was going around looking for Israelites. They don't tell you that. They just tell you that they was just looking for new land and then they just stumbled upon America.
Yeah, if one ship got destroyed, they had other ships.
to make it.
So they just didn't rely on just one ship selling. There was lots of ships. So when you watch the movies, they show Christopher Columbus on one boat. No, it was lots of boats.
Right.
You
So
know what I
then,
mean?
if you know that the book of First Esdras, if that was around during that time, then they knew it's some other Israelites that we got to go find.
Absolutely.
You know, so yeah, man, that's crazy.
Professor Alan H. Godfrey says that the reign of the last Jewish king of Ghana terminated in 1492 in order to satisfy Queen Isabella of Spain. King Manuel of Portugal promulgated a royal decree expelling the Jews and Moors from his country in 1496.
So they was expelled to where? Ghana was destroyed. The king was killed. Alright? So now you got confusion in Ghana. And then they bring in other brothers over there. Alright? What page is that you read?
115.
Switch it over. Read the rest of that.
The Jews who were expelled from Spain and Portugal were scattered throughout the Mediterranean coast. It is estimated that over 100,000 Jews departed from Spain and Portugal during the persecutions and expulsions.
So why would Jews flee into Africa where there's nothing but black people there? And then as we went through all these different classes, we have brought books out showing you that no Caucasian race penetrated the interior of Africa.
Right.
So what could that, I mean, you gotta use your intellect here.
Yeah.
Put it together, because we're going over the stuff and you're not thinking. You gotta think of what's being said.
Right.
The first European that penetrated the
Was in
interior.
1888.
Yeah, it was in the 19th century. All right, come on.
Some of the Jews went to northern Europe, Italy, and Turkey, but most of them went to Muslim countries in northern and western Africa.
Right.
These black Jews would naturally go to African countries, most of all because of less persecution, and they could disguise themselves easily among the blacks.
See that?
This chair is about to break. My father's sitting here and my mother is sitting here and they're fighting for the mic from moment to moment. My grandmother talks to you every now and then. All of my ancestors are sitting on this table all the way back to Nigeria. All of them. My ancestors were Igbos from Nigeria. And Igbos are called black Jews, that they're industrious, that they go after things, that they're hard-working people. My ancestors were Igbos from Nigeria. And Igbos are called black Jews.
It's elementary. Elementary. So,
Just like Howard Shad, just like Moses, just like Joseph.
yeah, they all went to Egypt to hide out. Because why? They all were tiny, swarthy people.
Right.
That's persecution.
So let's go to Puerto Rico's slavery revolt. Puerto Rico's slavery revolt. Because we still not finished dealing with those Spanish names. Okay? Go ahead, bring that up.
What page are you
Go to page 25. So this is called, say the title of this book in the author?
in? Slave Revolts in Puerto Rico by Guillermo A. Baralaut. Baralt.
Okay? Guillermo A. Baralt.
Winner of the Puerto Rico Pen Club Award.
Right.
So 25.
Yeah, so here we have a chart, let me see it. In this book, it gives you a chart of the uprisings in Puerto Rico. See that right there? Okay, on this chart it has rebellion slaves, and it says Bayaman. Bayah, or Bayah means house. House man, I don't know what man
In
means.
Hebrew?
Yeah, Bayah is Hebrew. So the master, they give a list of the masters that ran the plantations, right? And then they give a listing of the slaves. And the listings of the slaves, can you recite the names of the slaves? Okay. These are all uprising. These are all the slaves. And listen to their names. Let's see if it's African or English.
In 1821, Crispin Saviosa,
Sounds like Spanish to me. Go ahead.
Joseph Joaquin, Marcos Alonso,
That's Spanish but Hebrew too. Go ahead.
Eugenio, Felipe, Pedro, Luis, Capatas, Juan, Antonio, Laureano, Joseph Luis, Andres Antonio, Antonio, Marcelina, Joseph, Francisco, Santiago, Elias, Lorenzo, Benito, Domingo, Antonio Diaz, Pedro, King Cornelio, Gayan, Antonio.
And the next page.
And the next page.
Beltran,
You
Domingo.
can stop right there. So I'm just showing you, I'm trying to exuberate or exhaust, trying to show you the exhausting part about how we
slaves'
were
names.
all slaves had Spanish names. This is in Puerto Rico, but these were Negroes.
Right.
So today when you say, oh, I'm from Puerto Rico, how do people look at you? Impossible. You can't be from Puerto, you don't look Puerto Rican. You know what I mean? Because see, today's society, due to the TV, the television, and the movies,
Right.
they portray this image of everybody from Puerto Rico to look light skinned, curly hair, have like that Latino look.
Right.
But there's a lot of Negroes in Puerto Rico. See? They don't like to present that. Or even Cuba, or even Haiti.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or even Dominican Republic. There's uprisings throughout all these islands. It just wasn't Haiti. Most people, all they hear about is Haiti. But all the other
That's
islands.
all Jake do is revolt.
Yeah, revolt.
Turner, you know, all of them. Yeah.
So when you
Back
read
in
that,
Pontius Pilate time.
Straight
so
up,
when you
son.
read that, yeah, going back to Pontius Pilate time, it's
Right.
the same thing. It's the same nature. When you look at this stuff, you got to put everything together. It's a puzzle. All right. So let's go into some other stuff. So when we read that, what were the three languages during the time of Christ's death?
Latin, Greek, and Hebrew.
Right. So we know that Hebrew was there. Give me John 19 and 18 in the scriptures. John 19 and 18.
John chapter 19, verse 18. Where they crucified him and two other with him on either side one, and Jesus in the midst. And Pilate wrote a title and put it on the cross. And the writing was Jesus of Nazareth, the King of the Jews. The title then read many of the Jews, for the place where Jesus was crucified was nigh to the city, and it was written in Hebrew, Greek, and Latin.
So these are the three things they were written on. Hebrew, Greek, which is what the Romans spoke, and Latin. The Romans also spoke Latin. Who spoke Hebrew other than the Jews? People in Africa. People in northern Africa spoke Hebrew. Okay? So when we read that, keep reading some more. Go to the 22nd verse.
Verse 20.
Yeah, read all the way to the 22nd verse.
Then said the chief priests of the Jews to Pilate, write not the King of the Jews, but that he said, I am the King of the Jews. Pilate answered, what I have written, I have written.
What I have written, I have written. So,
I ain't changing that.
so we have brothers that had Latin names. Why? Because they went into captivity. And Latin was one of the most dominant languages during that time. Greek.
Who was the progenitor of
Who was progenitor of
that?
Latin?
I mean, like whose people came?
Latin comes from, it's basically it's Romans. Yeah, it's Romans. When you listen to the italics of Roman language, Roman just means romance, basically. It's like a form of romancing of a language. But they speak in Italian. Italian is Latin. Take away the I, it's Latin. Okay? So that's what it is.
I was gonna say that my boy Pontius Pilate prophesied a little bit when he said that, man. He was like, I write the King of the Jews, it's for a reason.
It's for a reason.
Yeah,
Right.
man.
Right. So we have these three languages. So when you look at our people, we spoke all three languages.
Right.
We spoke Greek. We had Hellenistic people who became Hellenic.
A lot.
We have brothers that was in the Spanish districts of Rome and Portugal, and they all spoke Spanish. All right. So let's go from there. Let's go to Psalms chapter 83. And read verse 2 and 4.
Psalms chapter 83, verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult. And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have said, verse 4, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance.
That's why you don't hear about Israelites no more. The name has been cut off. Go to 1 Maccabees chapter 1 verse 42. 1 Maccabees chapter 1 verse 42. So our name has always been changing, right? Based on the fact of the captivities that we went into. Even in America, we got American names. We act American. We act like so-called enemies who brought us here. Read that. First
Maccabees chapter 1 verse 42. And everyone should leave his laws, so all the heathen agreed according to the commandment of the king.
All the heathens jumped on that quick. Okay, we're going to agree. Go ahead.
Yeah. Many also of the Israelites consented to his religion and sacrificed unto idols and profaned the Sabbath.
Right, so how many Israelites did that in Europe? They became Christians, right?
Yep.
A whole lot of people. So they gave up their own laws, right? Read the 44th verse.
For the king has sent letters by messengers unto Jerusalem and the cities of Judah, that they should follow the strange laws of the land.
That's what's going on today, same thing. Go to Daniel 1. The book of Daniel, chapter 1. So if they was doing all of these things back then, what's stopping them now? They've been trying to take the name of Israel out of the land, out of the mouth of people. Daniel chapter 1, verse 4.
Daniel.
Because they don't say Israelites, they say Jewish. They don't never say Israelite. That's who we were, Israelites. Just gone. People think they were like, what is that? What is an Israelite? Daniel chapter 1 and read verse 4.
Daniel chapter 1 verse 4. Children of whom was no blemish, but well favored, and skillful in all wisdom, and cunning in knowledge, and understanding science, and such as had ability in them to stand in the king's palace, to whom they might teach the learning of the tongue of the Chaldeans.
Right, so these were the Jews who went into captivity. These were the smart ones. These are the smart ones of our people.
Understanding science.
Right, the Babylonians saw that they were smart and they snatched them up and said, okay, we're going to teach you more because you guys are bright. Right? Read verse 5.
Verse 5. And the king appointed them a daily provision of the king's meat and of the wine which he drank, so nourished them 3 years, that at the end thereof they might stand before the king.
So he was pretty much just what? What was he doing to them?
He was weaning them.
He was weaning them off what they knew. He was giving them food. He was nourishing them. Like the scripture says in Revelation chapter 12, and the earth helped the woman, and it said they would be nourished for a small period of time. That's going into this too. Go ahead.
So basically, Esau is just trying to make that one world language thing again. That was in the book of Genesis.
Yeah. Yep. So I mean, it's going right back to it, but at the same time, Esau's following the same thing that all these other captivities, all these kings in these other captivities do. Weaning us off of what we believe in, giving us what he believes in, like the Chaldeans.
School,
Television, school education, philosophy, you know, employment, all that stuff is the same thing. Read on.
Verse 6. Now among these were the children of Judah, Daniel, Hananiah, Mishael, and Azariah, unto whom the prince of the eunuchs gave names.
The prince of the eunuchs gave them what?
Gave names.
Gave them new names. Right. Come on.
For he gave unto Daniel the name of Belshazzar, and to the Hananiah of Shadrach, and to Mishael of Meshach, and to Azariah of Abednego.
So all of them got new names. So that's how we got our Latin names the same way. That's how we got our English names the same way.
Right.
So they stripped us of our names, and guess what names are linked to? Heritage. Names are linked to land. Names are linked to what? All types of riches.
Right.
So they take away your name so you don't have nothing. You can't say, I'm the royal heir of such and such. You can't do that. Because the inheritance is gone because you changed your name. Now somebody else is taking your name and becoming those people who are taking your heir. That's what you see going on in Jerusalem today. All right? So let's go to Genesis chapter 41. And let's go to verse 45. And this happened even during the time of the Egyptian captivity. Same thing. Genesis 41 and 45.
Same thing. Nothing new. Genesis chapter 41, verse 45. And Pharaoh called Joseph's name Zapnath Paneah, and he gave him to wife Asenath, the daughter of Potipharah, priest of On. And Joseph went out all over the land of Egypt.
So even Joseph got a new name. When he was in the land of Egypt, the Pharaoh gave him an Egyptian name. So this has been something that's been going on for years, just like it said in Psalms 83. Let us do away with the name of Israel, that they will no longer rise up against us. Before that, let's go to Western African history. It's
Right here.
yeah, bring that up. So this book right here is a good book. I recommend all you brothers and sisters to get this book. This is volume 1, Western African history. What this is all these captains of these ships, they keep a log on what they go through. And so they were keeping a log of the brothers and sisters who were in West Africa. They came from the land of Judah. They came from the land of Adamawa. Adamawa is after the name of Adam. Okay? Why they got these names in West Africa?
Right.
I thought they were supposed to be heathens, speaking Uka Puka Uka.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? They got these biblical names. You know what I mean? Why is that? So, I mean, you got to think about that. Let's go to page 154.
I'm never going to forget that. He said,
Uka Puka Uka.
154.
Yeah, read the first highlighted part.
Colonization, Sierra Leone.
So remember what we had read earlier, that the Jews, when they didn't want to give up their name, they were taken into slavery.
Right.
All right, so the brother's going to read where they went. Some of them went.
Colonization, Sierra Leone. An initial shipment of blacks and white prostitutes was transported to Sierra Leone in 1787, but the expedition was badly organized and the settlement virtually ceased to exist.
So what did they ship? Brothers, that was in the truth. And they shipped what else? White prostitutes. Now tell me, why did they ship white prostitutes?
So they could breed them and, try to do that. You know how I remember in the other class you said that they had fair skin, the same skin as, I mean, like these are well-built people and they wanted to.
Well, you gotta understand the so-called white man at this time. Remember, he couldn't get into the interior of Africa.
Yeah.
So you got these prostitutes coming down. What do prostitutes normally have?
Sexual alluring.
Sexual diseases.
Oh, that too.
That's Joel chapter 3, right?
They have diseases.
So
So if these diseases are not in West Africa, and people are having children, the men, when they seeing these women, eventually they'll get fond to the woman.
Biowarfare.
Right. So they brought what into that area? They brought these women in there to bring diseases, sexual diseases, herpes, and things like that. So that's what you got. So when you read that,
and it's literally 100 years before the first white man stepped on.
right. This is before the so-called white man went into Africa. Not only that, he's shipping so-called Christians. They were actual Jews. He was shipping them into the interiors of that part of Africa. They were betraying their own people. They go up in there, they're betraying them. They're trying to wean them into Christianity. So we had our own people coming in to break down our system. So this is brilliance on the so-called white man's side. It was evil as hell, but it was brilliance. You know, he was breaking down the interior of our people.
My question is, where did they get them from in 1787 after the first one they stepped on the scene to 18?
Where did they get who from?
Like, say Sierra Leone, right? The shipment of blacks, so I'm saying.
Those came from Europe.
Okay.
Spain, Portugal, those were exiles. Those who didn't want to bend. They got rid of them. They sent them down there. And so you think they want to go to West Africa? Some of them didn't want to go to West Africa. They liked their lifestyles in Europe.
Yeah, until 70 AD came.
Yeah.
You better get the hell out of Israel.
This is after that. This is after 70 AD. This is way up. Let's find out, because see, when we talk about so-called white people, they be like, "Nah, white people wasn't like that." So let me get some proof on that. Let me get the Sahara right there. It's a doggone shame we gotta prove all things.
With all them books, man.
We gotta prove all things.
No doubt.
Go to page.
By Mark de Villiers, and Sheila Hurdle.
Portuguese woman. Let's go to page 240. We kind of jumping around, but I want you guys just to get the magnitude of what we're talking about so you get it rather quickly and digest it. All right, go ahead.
Page 240. The Tuareg especially consider themselves a superior people and have finally developed sense of the color of men, dividing them up into white, Abiyat, the color of Europeans,
This is the Arabs. Come on.
and town dwellers on the north coast. White people are prone to illness and trickery,
Y'all hear
but are
that?
clever artificers.
So read that last part again.
White people are prone to illness and trickery.
Boom.
So when he sent those prostitutes down there, what do you think that was? They were sending trickery down there and illness in the bodies. That's biowarfare right there.
Right.
Biowarfare. Because you know, there's some of those brothers was, you know, they was lusting. So they left their wives and got with these Edomites. It's typical. Look at today's time.
Right.
Lust after the Edomite women, right? Go out there, try to sneak and get something, and come back with AIDS,
That's how
HIV.
Magic Johnson got it. Yeah, man,
Right.
that's wickedness.
Bring it back to your wife. That now the kids get infected if they're breastfeeding,
Right.
Yeah.
and it just broke down the interior of our people. All right, right there.
That's beautiful.
I'm breaking the proof out. That's
Books on
all
top
I'm
of
doing.
look, books on top of books on top of books, man.
Yeah, because see, we say it. Oh, nah, you lying. Well, we bringing the books out. You can't get mad at us no more.
Yeah, kind of.
You gotta get mad at your people for writing this stuff.
Yeah, man.
Page
you
93.
can't lie too much about history, otherwise you're gonna be confused.
Right. West.
Right. You gotta understand though.
Right.
Columbus, page 93. These indigenous people of the Bahamas were later destroyed by the contact with Spaniards. They were closely related to Taínos, whom Columbus would soon meet in the Caribbean.
Yep, Israelites.
Right.
He knows.
Read that from the top again.
These indigenous people of the Bahamas were later destroyed by contact with Spaniards.
All right. So what are Spaniards?
Whites.
White people, Edomites. So they died based on what?
Contact.
Illness and trickery. Illness and trickery again. So there it is. The books are telling you what they was like. They came to the land and killed our people off. Uncleanness. So I mean, you know, we ain't lying to you. Go to page 180. This is what was going on with our people back then. So when they came, see, they tried to say that we was beasts and that our immune systems were super strong and we could deal with all these diseases. No, we could deal with our environment. We could deal with the insects and things like that. But see, they couldn't deal with our insects. We didn't pollute them, they polluted us. But our insects had an effect on the Edomites when they came to that. That's one of the reasons too why they couldn't penetrate into the interiors.
That and the
So,
sun.
right, so if they just think about the trickery now. So if they brought prostitutes into West Africa, do you think the brothers are going to bring them into the interior? Or you think the brothers are going to sneak outside and do something outside? They're going to sneak outside. illness and then took it back in. It's like a virus for,
Right.
you know, it's like in your computer. You get a virus when you go outside of the apps that you normally deal with. So when you look at these artifacts, you know, how did so many Edomites become Jews? You know, when you look around, you see so many Jewish people claiming to have our heritage. There's so many. You know, when you watch TV, you see so-called white people being Jewish. How did they do that? How did they take over so much? You know, what happened? Huh? Remember, if they were expelling us out of the land, guess who was able to take over? They was able to take our name. Read that part right there.
The 13th tribe
Now, Jewish people hate this book.
by Arthur Koestler.
So Arthur Koestler died after writing this book. They killed him.
Right.
Okay? So a lot of stuff that he put in here is true about his own people. He's telling on his own people about where they came up with this Jewish thing. So read page 88.
188.
188.
The rise of Christianity slowed down the rate of miscegenation, and the ghetto put a temporary end to it. But before the ghetto rules were strictly enforced in the 16th century, the process still went on. This is shown by the ever-repeated ecclesiastic extraditions and mixed marriages.
Okay? So there's a lot of mixed marriages going on. Keep going. He's going to read some more.
By the Council of Toledo in 589.
Uh-huh.
The Council of Rome, 743.
Uh-huh.
And the first and second Lateran councils in 1123 and 1139.
Okay?
Or the Edict of King
So he's giving you years. 529, 7, 1129. Come on.
the King Ladislav II of Hungary in 1092.
Uh-huh.
That all these prohibitions were only partly effective is shown, for instance, by the report of the Hungarian Archbishop Robert von Grain to the Pope AD 1229, complaining that many Christian women are married to Jews.
Wait a minute. Many Christian women. What are the Christian women?
Spain.
Spaniards, Gentile women.
Yeah,
Married to Jews, right? So you can see there was a lust for the black men going after these Spaniards. Right?
Look at Nehemiah where he said, don't take their wives,
Yeah.
they're going to pull you away.
They was lusting after these white women.
Right.
Go ahead.
And that within a few years, many thousands of Christians were lost in this way to the church.
They were lost to this way because once they got with a Jew, what did they do? They changed over to a Jew. So now that's why when you watch the Jewish people, they'll say it's based on your mama, not on your daddy. See that? You ever heard that before? It's based on your mama. It's not your daddy. When you read the scriptures in Matthew chapter 1, it's based on your father, the patriarchs of Yahushua.
Yeah.
But here it's telling you based on your mom, you could be a Jew. You know? Come on.
The only effective bar were the ghetto walls. When these crumbled, intermarriages started again. Their rate accelerated to such an extent that in Germany, between 1921 and 1925, out of every 100 marriages involving Jews, 42 were mixed.
Look at that. A lot of mixed babies is coming out.
Half.
That's
So
like
those-
60% now, though.
Yeah. So if you had a lot of those that was mixed, guess what they was going to do when they got older? They was going
Same
to
thing.
gravitate to who?
The mom.
The Edomites, because they were the ruling people at that time. Right? They were going to gravitate to the Christians. Right? So you had a lot of mixtures going on based on that. Where were they at? The Jews was in the ghetto. In the ghetto again. Page 17 to 79. Yeah, read page 17.
This was written before the full extent of the Holocaust was known.
What he's bringing out now is how they became so-called, well, who these so-called white people were. Go ahead.
This was written before the full extent of the Holocaust was known, but that does not alter the fact that the large majority of surviving Jews in the world is of Eastern European, and thus perhaps mainly of Khazar origin.
Right, so they're not of Judah, they're not of Jacob, they're not of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. They're of Khazarian blood, Edomite blood. Go ahead.
If so, this will mean that their ancestors came not from the Jordan, but from the Volga, not from Canaan, but from the Caucasus, once believed to be the cradle of the Aryan race,
Come on.
and that genetically they are more closely related to the Hun, Uyghur, and Magyar tribes than to the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob.
So that's the point. They're saying, okay, these people, they're closer to the Huns. No, they lived with the Huns. They were Edomites. But it's also talking about how they're not of the line of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, the line is everything. When he says line, because he can say Abraham, Isaac, and Esau, he said the line, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Come on.
The story of the Khazar Empire, as it slowly emerges from the past, begins to look like the most cruel hoax which history has ever perpetrated.
Woo!
And this from
hoax ever.
And this from the devil himself.
That's from the devil himself. He said it's the biggest hoax in the world.
His tongue shall lie. He lied on the scripture.
What can you do with that? Go to page 79.
Straight there. Lastly, Halevi twice in different places of the book gives the date of the conversion as having taken place 400 years ago, and in the year 4500 according to the Jewish calendar. This points to AD 740.
So 740 AD is when a lot of these people start converting to being what? Us.
Which is most likely the date.
Right. So it was they were all proselytes. They all became proselytes. All right. So there you have it. This is how the Edomites became us. It all started around 740 AD. This is when they started calling themselves Jews. Prior to that, it was us. They had to get rid of us though. It was like, look, we got a plot, we got a host that we got to bring. Let's get rid of them.
Right.
Let's go to the lost city of Africa, page 72. Okay, so we're getting back on topic. This is what we're supposed to do. The lost city of Africa. Let's go page 72, the third paragraph.
Page 72, third paragraph. Which you said the third. It showed the Atlas Mountains of Morocco, for example, broken by a pass that was used by merchants going into the land of the Negroes of Guinea.
Okay, so in Morocco is where a lot of us was, but we escaped when the Romans came into Morocco. Where did we go? We had a pathway into West Africa. Nobody else knew about it. Go ahead.
The great southward...
You had to go through the mountains.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
I heard of that before.
The great southward route by the way of Sijilmassa,
which is an Arab name. Go ahead.
in fact, that North Africans had used since the time beyond memory. It marked Timbuktu, Kute Mali, Gael, and Tagaza, and all these amid a host of others would henceforth tease the interest of the immigration of Europe until the earliest European travelers, centuries after, could reach them at last.
So it's telling you right here. So if we went into West Africa, and we went to Morocco, and we went to Algeria, all these places, if we went there, we had a path to get to West Africa down low. This is showing you there was a path in place.
Right.
There was a path in place, and that's how we got there. That's how we got to West Africa.
Centuries later, you see
later,
European travelers could reach them.
Right. Let's go to Romans 11:25. We're going to get ready to close out. So with all this being said, the Israelites are us. We are the Israelites.
Romans chapter 11, verse 25. For I would not, brethren, that ye should be ignorant of this mystery, lest ye should be wise in your own conceits, that blindness in part is happened to Israel, until the fullness of the Gentiles be come in.
So all this confusion that you've been seeing is because the Most High wants the Gentiles to come to a fullness of evil.
And then gotta get...
And then the truth is just going to overwhelm everybody. Like it's doing now, that's what's happening. The truth is overwhelming people. But it's during the times of the Gentiles' fullness. That's why they can't believe it.
How much more wicked can the Gentiles get?
Hey man,
Goodness.
they are the worst of the heathen. The blindness is on our people. Oh, let's pull out one more thing. Sahara. Let's go to 184.
Old Gene has been dated to somewhere around 200 BC and was a thriving city by AD 300, when jewelry, copper, objects, and decorative ceramics were being mass produced.
Okay, so this stuff was being mass produced, but who were doing this initially? It was the Israelites. We were doing this in Jerusalem. All these things that he mentioned. We had skills at this.
Right.
Come on.
Old Ghana had a network of markets, a developed agriculture.
Developed agriculture. Ghana means the land of the kings. That was the land of the Israelites. Come on.
A sophisticated art, and evolved politics.
Politics. Come on.
And a tax collecting bureaucracy before the Europeans emerged from the Dark Ages.
Right, so before the Europeans emerged from the Dark Ages, we was already running systems in West Africa. Okay, come on.
Somewhere around.
And notice it says they emerged from the Dark Ages,
right.
Meaning they came out of it on top. The Europeans.
Right.
When we fell. Go ahead.
Somewhere around the end of the first millennium.
All right. So read page 229.
Africa, the gilded place, the home of rulers who had lived in golden palaces and sat on golden thrones and ate their meals from golden dishes.
Everything we ate was on gold. Golden, like the brother said, golden toilets. That's what Ahmad said. Golden toilets, golden plates, golden earrings, golden hats. Everything was gold because it healed your body.
Right.
Man.
You know, Kaleido silver, Kaleido gold. They still have the stores. That's
gold
still
chains, man.
Yeah.
Man.
Go ahead.
By an odd historical coincidence, there is such a society in Africa, the Ashanti, the people of the golden stool, but they live far away from the putative Wangarans and the Kumazi in modern Ghana,
Those were Hamites.
some 800 miles to the south.
Right. So right there, it's just showing you when we was in West Africa, these lost cities were thriving.
Right.
They were thriving with us, the Israelites. And before the Arabs came, this is what we were doing. All right. So with that, I'm gonna go ahead and close out from the diaspora of the 12 tribe breakdown. There you have it. We've given you ample information, ample resources.
Right.
All right. And with that, we're gonna say shalom.
This is the word of the Lord of hosts. I took you from the pastures and from following the sheep to be prince over my people Israel. I have been with you wherever you have gone and have destroyed all the enemies in your path. I will make you a great name among the great ones of the earth. I will assign a place for my people in Israel. There I will plant them, and they shall dwell in their own land.